All right, my friends, this is going to be a quick update on the ice, the sleet, the freezing rain as it moves in parts of Ohio, Michigan overnight, Wisconsin. We've seen the ice throughout the evening. That will continue into Sunday, at least early in the day. And now we're watching Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, and I think even down into North Carolina as this moves off to the east. Pennsylvania, parts of the state under winter weather advisories. We've even got winter storm warnings in effect for Somerset County down into western Maryland and into northern parts of West Virginia. You can see that here. It doesn't include Elkins. It's up into the northern mountains, into those sheltered valleys. There's your winter weather advisories down the face of the Blue Ridge, the Shenandoah Valley, down to Roanoke, up north on 81, Harrisonburg, north up to Stanton, all the way to Winchester, Hagerstown, Maryland. But once you get east of the mountains here, nothing for D.C. We're all rain here. But up into PA, just south of Johnstown here, we've talked about that Somerset County winter storm warning here. 7 a.m. through 4 a.m. Monday. Weather.gov is where I'm getting this, so you want to make sure you're checking it out. Up to State College, we've got a ton of winter weather advisories, the Laurel Highlands, and we're also watching this as it moves to the east into parts of Connecticut. Winter weather advisories have been issued here, just north of Bridgeport and New Haven here into southern parts of these counties in Connecticut, and then just north of New York City, it's all rain here into Long Island as this system moves off to the north. Now, let's talk about the precipitation that we're seeing right now back across Wisconsin. Then we'll take it east. Through the overnight hours, we're talking about rain now, moving into Chicago. But north of that, once you get north of Green Bay, which Green Bay likely kind of right on that line, but up here into northern parts of Wisconsin, now into Michigan too. We'll see that ice overnight in central Michigan, and it starts to change over to rain, though. Over to Traverse City, we're over to rain, I think, as we wake up on Sunday morning. There may be some pockets of freezing rain here, but the trend will be for things to warm up overall. Again, a few pockets certainly possible, and then we start to see things calm down a little bit as we head into Sunday afternoon. There's your cold air getting reinforced down the east side of the mountains into Pennsylvania, New York. That's some really chilly air, too, as this stubborn cold air gets stuck in place as the moisture moves north and east. There's your ice. It's coming at the coldest time of day, in my opinion, as you get into the early morning hours here into northeast Ohio and now down into the mountains of West Virginia. So Beckley, Bluefield, Roanoke, north up on 81, Stanton. We talked about that, Lexington. Once you get north, especially up here into West Virginia, Maryland, we're probably going to start off with some snow. Mostly western Maryland's what we're talking about, too, up towards Winchester. But as you get closer to the warm air, the cold air gets shallower, so now we're talking about ice. That's also going to be going on here into northeast Ohio, Canton, Akron. I think once you get right down into downtown Cleveland, right next to Lake Erie, up into Erie, Pennsylvania, along the water, it's going to be a little too warm. Get away from it a little bit. That cold air is going to be more entrenched, so we'll probably see that ice continue here once we head into the afternoon. Now we're watching that ice transition over to rain here across parts of Ohio. We've talked about what's going on back here across Michigan, and a little bit of light freezing rain possible through the day up into parts of Wisconsin, also into Minnesota. Some of the snow could add up into parts of Pennsylvania. The Laurel Highlands will likely transition over to some sleet, then some freezing rain, but the snow may hold tight up here into the Poconos and then up into New York too. We may actually see some accumulation out of this. Not a lot of snow, but the ice, in my opinion, is the concern that we're looking at. This is the digital forecast database taking a look at that. This is the latest NAM model. A little more aggressive with that ice here into the mountains of Pennsylvania, also into northeast Ohio. And I'll tell you what, watch out down here into parts of southern West Virginia, southwest Virginia. We've got winter weather advisories out here into this part of the southern Appalachians. But some of this ice could get heavy, especially into those higher elevations. The good news is, though, warm air will eventually transition this area over to rain. Let's zoom in a little closer into Pennsylvania. Across parts of Pittsburgh, I think we start maybe as some sleet, some freezing rain here. If you look at the advisories, no winter weather advisories for Pittsburgh, for Wheeling, but north of that up towards Butler, you get up towards Meadville, also Altoona, into the mountains here. I think we're going to see that freezing rain and that snow. Cleveland under winter weather advisory, also Canton, Youngstown, Ohio, winter weather advisories here for the mixed precipitation, likely, again, falling as freezing rain. And then as we move into the afternoon, there's a closer look at that on the NAM model, transitioning over to rain. Mostly rain, again, for Pittsburgh, but northeast of here, up into the mountains, probably going to stay all snow. Watch out across northern parts of New Jersey, New York City, all rain here. but head north and we're in the snow. It doesn't look like a heavy snow event. I think we have to watch this area to transition over to some freezing rain. Snow could add up 3, 4, 5 inches into the higher elevations. Some of the modeling data also giving the idea that there could be a few spots, especially in Pennsylvania, where we stay snow longer. Some of the snow numbers could be a little bit lower, especially if you transition over to a sleet or a freezing rain mix. You eat into your snow totals. Across the west, it's been so busy on today, Saturday. Heading into Sunday, we see a bit of a break, and now our next storm is moving in on Monday with more heavy snow from northern California. Quiet across the Four Corners states, quiet across the plains for now. This moves into the northern Rockies with snow here, skipping the south, at least Southern California, the Four Corners states. Colorado may see a little bit of snow out of this, in the northern mountains here, the northern Wasatch. Up into Wyoming may see a little snow, but the next storm targets British Columbia with some heavy snow here. Could pile up in the order of 3, 4 feet, maybe even more into some of the higher elevations. Let's take you through the next week. Here's a quick update of the European from this afternoon. I want to show you what's going on as we head into Tuesday. Mostly rain now into the northeast as some warm air surges north. There's your storm across the west, and now we set the stage for what's happening next here across the east. Our trough digs in, our storm across the west, mostly again into Washington, into British Columbia, dumping some heavy snow into the mountains of Alberta. Some of that may spill east of the mountain, but that snow shadow kicking into Calgary, so it's always tough to squeeze the snow out here. But out on the prairies, snow starts to pick up. I think from Edmonton down to into Saskatchewan, Manitoba, eventually, as this clipper system almost moves off to the south and east. Into the northeast, we do have a cold front that's going to move through also into the southeast. This is going to drop some rain, some heavy rain at that as we head into Wednesday, and maybe some snow mixing in here. More winter weather for the northeast, for northern parts of New York into Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine, and there comes that clipper system. As it moves off to the east, it's going to bring some snow into Ontario. It's going to bring snow around the Great Lakes. We may warm up enough out ahead of this for a little bit of rain mixing in, and then the lake effect kicks in behind it. And now we've got a broad trough here in the east. Hot, cold Arctic high pressure building in. There's our next storm across the west as we head into next weekend. Again, we're looking 7 days out now. How accurate can this be? I don't know that I believe a lot of this, but it's starting to line up. I don't see a huge storm as we get around the 23rd or 24th, at least at this point in time. If anything, your flow looks more zonal. Your trough kind of moves out. The GFS kind of on board with this idea too as we head into next weekend. There comes a broad trough. It has a clipper system moving through the northeast. Your trough is a little bit deeper on the GFS, arguably the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, although now the GFS has everything warming up as we head toward Christmas. And I think we're going to get warm after Christmas. I don't think there's a question there. In my mind, we do get warm, but do we see some kind of transition? Do we see some sort of storm fire up along our huge temperature difference that I think we're going to see across the north? And with this warm air surging north into toward that cold air, do we see enough thermal gradient to develop a storm somewhere? And I don't know yet. Let's wait and see on that. The jury's still out for me anyway. Now, here's a quick look at your GFS ensembles. Snow, I want to show you the idea of where the snow lines are. This is what we were showing last night. Are you ready? This is the latest run. A little bit further north, maybe a little less snow too. So in my mind, the models are trending toward less snow over the next couple of weeks. That's all I got for now. See ya.